Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.
Greetings, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends. Welcome to Spoiler Sleepover, part of the Nerdcap Network. Join your hosts, Jason, Michael, and Rob, as they bring you on a slash-tastic adventure through cinema. Now, enjoy the show. It'll be a real scream of a time.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Jason Michael. Just giving you a little heads up as we talked about previously. This month of February is going to be myself and friends. That's right, February with friends. I've got 2 guests coming on this month. To get us started off for the February with friends, we have Christine. So let's bring in Christine and get this party started. Welcome back, everybody. I, as previously stated, am here with Christine. Hello, Christine. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm dandy, thank you. So, Christine and I, we are co-workers, and when I moved up to New Hampshire a little over a year ago, immediately found Christine as a horror fan. I was like, cool, we're friends now. So it was really, really easy getting to know Christine, and it was fantastic. So thanks for being an awesome friend.
Oh, you got it. I'm so thrilled about horror, and I love to share my experiences with everyone that I know. So.
And today we are talking about one of your personal favorites. Oh, that's an evil giggle right there.
I've been waiting for this one, I have to say. This is something I've been wanting to talk about with many people, and a lot of people don't share my same interests, so I'm looking forward to this.
People can't see it, but Christine has a very mischievous look on her face right now. It's like a good mischievous, like, yes, good. Nobody knows what is about to happen. But before we talk about our movie this evening, we have, of course, to talk about what's been keeping us up at night. And Christine, seeing as you are our first guest of the month of February with friends, would you like to go first and tell us what's been keeping you up at night?
Ooh, I have to say something that's keeping me up at night. Besides my children, definitely been trying to keep up with some new horror films. I recently just got introduced to a new movie that was from Jason that he recommended for me, that stars Elizabeth Moss. And something that you guys need to know is I am her doppelganger. So
it's quite terrifying.
I look very much like Elizabeth Moss, and people say it, and it's even haunting me when I see her, and I'm like, I'm in a movie.
That was one of my personal favorite things was when I first met you. It was like after a month, I was like, all right, Christine, this might sound crazy, but do you know this actress? And you go, yeah, no, don't worry. I get it all the time. I was like, thank God.
No, I'm not a handmaid.
Yeah.
But I started watching just the beginning of The Invisible Man. And I'm not going to lie, I was freaked out in the first 5 minutes. So I am going to have to say that I will have to return at another point. But just in the last night or so, just watching it definitely has haunted me. So I have to say that I will continue watching when my child doesn't come into my room at 8:00 at night and wants to watch it with me. I mean, he might be a fan of horror films too, but he's not ready for that when he's 4 years old. So
yeah, no.
I have to say, I'm looking forward to watching the rest of that. Also, something else that's been keeping me up at night is I recently started to sleep talk again. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a sleep talker, sleepwalker. And I've been doing it a lot more lately, and I happen to have done it. And it's kind of creepy when your husband says, "Oh, hey, honey, you're pointing to the corner of the room again." And I have no recollection of it. And my husband told me that there was a man apparently standing in the corner of the room, according to what I had told him. Again, I don't remember any of this, so we're going to leave it at that.
Oh my God. This is going to be a great talk. Wow. That's awesome. Maybe partially not awesome when middle of the night and your husband wakes up and goes, "She's talking to someone in the corner. I can't go back to sleep."
Yeah, when he has to continuously say, "Babe, you're doing it again." And I'm like, I don't remember.
Is there anything that like triggers it? Do you know? Like, because
it
I
could be
know
anything.
I know like some people get like nightmares after eating spicy food or something, but
No, I have never heard of that. However, I did hear that it could be related to either stress, it could be related to hormone imbalances, which I am pregnant, so it could be a little bit of that too. So you never know. You never know. But I've been dealing with this since I was 5 years old. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Learn something new every day.
Which makes it even more fantastic when I love horror films and, the excitement of paranormal.
Yeah, especially along these lines. Oh, that makes me happy for the next one, too. As for me, I have been watching continuously the show Metalocalypse. It's an old Adult Swim show about a heavy metal band. It's a cartoon.
Oh,
you know it?
I do.
Yes.
Yes. I might have seen one or two episodes, but definitely something that's quite fun. I'd like to watch it.
Yeah, I've watched that show way too many times to count. I finished it maybe mid-December in 23, for, again, however many times. But then I told myself, I was like, all right, I'll wait until after the New Year. New Year's Day, I ran through the first season and like half of the second one.
Good for you. Good.
Yes.
You are very dedicated with that.
Yeah, which I just finished on the 22nd of January. I just finished the run through again. So I have restarted and I'm already about, through the first season. Whether or not it's going to be a full
dedication,
a month thing every month, we'll see. Because come summer, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to watch things as much as I do now. But for the most part, it's only been a Metalocalypse kind of time. And I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. But that's what's been keeping us up at night. Please let us know. Send us a message on Instagram. Hey, what's been keeping you up at night? Hopefully it's not also sleepwalking and sleep talking. But if it is, let us know. Maybe you and Christine have something in common. We'll find out.
Oh, I would love to find out. Who's out there? Who's like me?
So after our What's Been Keeping Us Up at Night, of course, we have a little fun thing called an earworm, where we like to talk about any musical selections or any audio things specifically that you're listening to that you'd like to get out there into the world for other people to try and listen to or get them into that same exact thing. So again, being our guest, Christine, do you have an earworm for this week?
Ooh, I have to say, I'm going to go with Wolf Mother. My my husband actually just went to a concert recently in the last couple weeks, and I actually have never heard of them. And when I started listening to it, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. So I'm going to have to say, yeah, I really enjoy Wolf Mother. And then kind of going along, not really with Wolf Mother, but on the opposite end, I'm into X Ambassadors, and I've been listening to them a little bit, and they're really good as well.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Love that. My earworm is not particularly a musician or anything. It's actually another podcast. I mentioned it a few weeks ago on our live stream that I've been listening to a podcast called Morning Somewhere. It's from, I don't know if you ever heard of the company Rooster Teeth. They have a bunch of different online series One of their flagships is called Red versus Blue. It was made in a video game called Halo.
Okay.
I've been following them for basically the 20 years that they've been around, and their founder in 2019, I think, moved to Scotland and kind of just disappeared off the face of the earth and was like nothing on socials, nothing. And then out of nowhere a few weeks ago, came back with a podcast being like, hey, it's a 20-minute wake up in the morning, drive to work, or listen while you're drinking your coffee kind of podcast. And it's just talking about random stuff. And it's quite entertaining, actually.
That sounds amazing.
As we said with what's been keeping us up at night, definitely let us know what you've been listening to in your earworms, whether it's a podcast, hopefully it's Spoiler Sleepover, or if it's music. And we always can enjoy getting some more musical tastes here. So now that we've moved on from that, of course, we have to creep it real. Creeping it real. Christine, I have something that is going to intrigue you. A new horror movie at the time of this recording. This article came out this morning. A new horror movie has people walking out of theaters at Sundance.
Oh my God. I
Yes.
must know.
So we've sent things back and forth of like, wow, this movie is making people stop watching it on Netflix after the first 8 minutes. People can't get through it. Of course, that's always clickbait. And the most like well-known thing that I remember, at least recently, of people walking out was Terrifier 2. So this already has me excited. Steven Soderbergh's new horror film, Presence, made its premiere at the 2024 Sundance Film Festival on Friday. I guess people are saying I cannot take this stress so late at night and are just walking out of the film. It's leaving the film's cast reportedly shaken after watching the screenings. Lucy Liu, I guess, is the star of the film, and she's saying, I'm just devastated my body is having reactions as if I wasn't in the movie. So,
Oh boy.
what the hell is this movie?
Yeah, it makes me wonder that this is a legit thing. Are people like, what's the box office going to be like? Is it going to be making a ton of money off of this movie, or are people just going to be so horrified that they can't watch it?
I'm wondering if it's going to be like a limited release like Terrifier was, where it was only a select amount of theaters, and then they saw the massive welcoming that it had. So hopefully Terrifier 3, I believe, is getting a wider release, which if it's not, I'll still go see it. But at the same point, it'd be great to see it get a wider release than that.
I agree. My guess is that it will also be waiting and it won't come on, on demand for a very long time and be $25 to rent.
Yeah. It's saying it's a haunted house film, and what makes it different than others in that genre is the film is shot from a perspective of the entity haunting the home, completely inside the house with unusual angles, letting the audience watch the family as though they're watching the ghost watch them. A lot of watching.
Oh.
It's honestly seeming like it's going to be a movie from the perspective of the Kandarian demon from Evil Dead.
Yes.
Which, if that was an Evil Dead movie, I'd be all about it. Maybe it's connected. Who knows? I don't know. I'll wait until at least a trailer, and then most likely we'll wait till streaming.
Yeah, I need to see this trailer.
All right. Christine, are you ready?
Oh, I've been ready.
Good. On this episode, if you already didn't know by looking at the title, we are, of course, are talking about the start of a very long and confusing and out of order franchise. We're talking about 2013's The Conjuring, and we are going to talk about the 3 main movies this month with Christine. So we're talking about 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
I hate the title.
It's the title that gets
the devil made me do it. So, Christine, before we get started running down and walking through the movie, can you give a little insight as to why you thoroughly enjoy the Conjuring franchise?
So, when I first started watching The Conjuring, I immediately was like, okay, I need a really good horror film. And so I was like, okay, well, let me start with a series of some sort. So when The Conjuring came out, I said, okay, this looks pretty good. It's kind of creepy, but I love seeing demonic possessions, and I'm very into watching that sort of thing. So I've always watched YouTube videos on demonic possessions. I've watched just possessions in general. Really, that stuck out with me for The Conjuring was that I wanted to kind of watch to see if it was very similar to, I believe her name was Emily Rose. I think that's what it was. I'm driving crazy now.
It's not the exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yes, yes, it was.
Oh.
Yes. So I wanted something that was going to be like that. So definitely not, it's very much different, but because it was involving a sort of possession, I wanted to watch something that was going to be about that. So, I mean, if we talk about The Conjuring, there's definitely a possession going on in this household, and that's why we're here to talk about it, because there's a lot going on in this movie, which makes it why there's so many episodes to go with it.
Yeah. The whole house reminds me of the Amityville house.
Yes.
And especially the layout of it.
I think a lot of horror films, I don't know if anyone else thinks this, but in a lot of horror films, they kind of relate certain houses in, like a New England setting to be very haunted. And just like, like The Haunting of Connecticut, like talking about Emily Rose, like these houses are old farmhouses and they're freaky as shit. And
was this house in New England?
It might be Rhode Island. I'm not positive on that.
Rhode Island farmhouse.
Ah, I was right. Okay.
You were right. You want to do that again to be like, yeah, Rhode Island, baby. Yeah.
Okay, I'm a winner. What do I win? Oh, you win.
You were correct on a podcast. Yeah, you get this creepy ass farmhouse. Oh, great.
Oh, great. I will not be returning. Sorry.
Can I sell it and just take the money?
To be honest, I don't even know if they want to sell it or even who wants to buy it.
Yeah, I feel like you'd have to disclose, by the way, this place is haunted as shit. Best of luck.
Died here.
But only after you sign the paperwork, suckers!
Toodaloo!
Don't call me if you need anything. All right.
Oh, you didn't hear? There's no cell phone. So,
yeah, there's no service. You're screwed.
There's no service there. So.
And even if you do have service, your phone will somehow mysteriously vanish because of the spirits in this house. They just hate you.
And they're locked up in the walls. Ooh,
yeah.
Creepy.
When did I watch this? 2-3 weeks ago, I think.
You watched it 2 weeks ago, and I have watched it probably like 15 times. And probably about, I know, this is a new year, but I've watched it already 3 times. So.
Damn. Okay. All right.
You know what? Once you watch a movie, like you have to rewatch it to actually, grasp the information and actually try to figure out if there's things that are missing that you.
I was immediately confused as soon as this movie started. It just shows Annabelle's eyes. I was like, oh, okay. However, little did we know in 2013 that was the start of just a massive, following for certain people. I get the Annabelle doll is real, and all of these are, quote, based on a real story, but Annabelle itself has taken on its own, figure form, if you will, in the horror community. Yeah, she's just an upsetting, broken, cracked up doll who we very quickly learn about the actual reason why she's like that. It's the Warrens' first case, I believe, is a young girl-like doll that the nurses allowed a girl named Annabelle to continue living with them through a doll. My personal favorite is when they disclose this information, and the Warrens are like, I'm sorry, you did what?
The fact that they just let her in and just said, we just let her in. Like, who does that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Why would you want to play with that?
Yeah, the whole, this doll it's haunting the people that are now living at this flat, again, because the little girl died and inhabited the doll, and that's how she gets to continue to live with them. But it's just haunting the place. They've thrown her in the dumpster. They've put her elsewhere, and she always finds her way back. She shows up with a little sign that says, "Miss me?" in crayon. Can I also just say, unrelated to Annabelle, the layout of this apartment or house pisses me off. It's a straight hallway to the front door, and everybody's rooms are on the side. So if you want to sneak out, or hey, it's really early in the morning and I have to go to work, that place sounds like it just creaks by looking at it. So you are going to wake up everybody.
Even the lights, it definitely pinpoints that the lights are heading towards this door to the exit of their apartment.
Yeah.
And there's no lights on anywhere else. And you just hear this knock.
Doesn't it go from a knock to like a bang on the door?
It's a knock and then like someone's behind you. I don't know about you, but I would not want to be in that house.
It was the knock on the door, and then I think it was a bang from one of the doors inside the hallway.
What's funny is that I thought that the bang was originally coming from, the guy's room. So I thought that both these nurses were living with this guy. Because if you remember in the beginning, there's this guy that's there too. So who's this guy? Like, who's this dude? Like, does he live with the nurses? Like, is he just a friend? Like, it's, and then you only see the nurses come out of their room. So,
yeah, it's an odd situation, but made even odder with the fact that there is a haunting presence in the form of a doll. So that's fantastic for those people. The analysis that the Warrens are giving them. So Ed and Lorraine Warren are there, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. I think, yeah. I'm just going to call them Ed and Lorraine Warren because otherwise I'm going to butcher.
Refer to them as,
I'm going to butcher that name every time and I feel so bad. Their analysis really isn't that hopeful or optimistic. They're basically just like, hey, listen, you welcomed this on yourself, so you guys are haunted.
And figure it out.
Yeah.
Take the doll.
I did enjoy the fact that the backgrounds are cool. Like, Ed is the only non-ordained demonologist acknowledged by the Catholic Church. I feel like you've got to go through some real shit to get that kind of notoriety.
Yeah. I mean, I would have thought that there would have been more, and for him to be the only one, like, there's got to be, like, definitely some, in-depth, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, there's just,
I don't think I'll go to the Catholic Church and be like, hey, how do I become a non-ordained demonologist that you acknowledge?
They would shut the door on you.
You need Jesus, my son. And they close the door. Wait, that's us. We can help with that. The title scroll, if you will, is basically saying, hey, this is a case from the Warrens based on a real story, The Conjuring. It starts with that Rhode Island farmhouse. It's a family rolling up and going, you hear that? And they go, no. And it's like, yes, exactly. That line itself is my dream. Like, eventually to go into the middle of the woods and just live in the middle of the woods and not hear anything besides woods. I would love that so much.
I do have to say that was a very strong line when they were like, it was just peace and quiet, because yes, you definitely want to have that feeling of they're away from whatever they dealt with, whatever before, they're in this world now of it's happiness for them. It's quiet. It's serene. It's what they want. And why is it so quiet?
Yeah, it very quickly goes to there is no peace and quiet in this house. It starts relatively quickly, if I remember correctly. Like, Sadie, the dog, already is barking, and it's like, nope, not this house, bad house, nobody go in, don't like it, and she stays outside. So the dad just leaves her out there and, like, ties her up to, I think, the side of a tree, while everyone else goes in and explores the house.
They then go into, hey, we're going to play this game.
Oh, God.
And the children, they're very into, it's like a hide and go seek game where they're blindfolded. I don't know about you, not a new house. You don't know where anything is. Who's to say that you're not going to fall down a flight of stairs? Who's to say that you're not going to bump into a bunch of walls?
Yep.
Yes, very possible. But
Yeah, the parents were like, hey, we don't know this place, and you're running through it like a bunch of animals. You can't play the clap game. You're going to fall, and they do it anyway. But
that's right. It was the clap game.
Yeah, it's like the house is a fixer-upper as is. So if you don't trip and fall down the stairs, who's to say there's not a broken, rusty nail sticking out of something, or a board that needs to be fixed and you fall through the floor?
When one of the daughters was in the closet, and, when the other daughter, who's the one who's trying to find everyone, pushes the daughter, she pushes herself into the wall that leads into the basement that is shut off.
Yeah.
So why is it boarded up?
Yeah. It's giving weird zooms and angles that remind me of like 70s and 80s horror movies, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Also keep in mind that this movie was around the 70s. It wasn't filmed in the 70s, but it was a 70s house in the 70s.
I will say I have only, at the point of this recording, only seen 1 and 2, and both of which are doing excellent jobs of like capturing the atmosphere of the time that they're going in, especially the Warrens. The Warrens look like a time capsule. They are
absolutely.
70s and 80s bell bottoms, vests. Yeah, the whole 9 yards.
The music, too. Just listening to the radio like that. Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
So the kids are playing the clap game, and basically you spin around in a circle all blindfolded, and then you have, I think it's 3 claps, and you need to clap to basically be like, hi, I'm over this way, and if they find you, they find you. Yeah, I think it was, they're playing the game, and one of the kids is like hiding in the corner next to a little bureau, and the mom's out there too, and she looks at the kid like, you gotta clap, that's cheating, because the person who's looking is standing right next to them.
I don't know about you, but I would not clap because I don't want to get tagged.
No, absolutely not. But at the same point, I like how mom's like, I'll let you get away with this one. And it's like, no. They start going through and playing the clapping game, and then we find out the cellar because I believe the door opened. It was either the door opened or someone's hiding in there already.
So once they got the door open, because the father then was like, oh my God, what's going on here? He figured out, he brought the matches, and he started to walk down to the cellar. So, I mean, there was no door. Like, it was just boarded up. So
that's a red flag in itself right there. If you're like, if your basement's boarded up in a brand new old creepy house that you got, maybe contact the seller and be like, hey, the hell happened? Again,
back then they didn't know. They just did it.
Yeah. Again, giving me major Amityville vibes throughout this entire house. Watching that movie, there's even the room at the top of the stairs in the corner where it's like, that's where most of the hauntings.
Room always creeps me out.
Oh, yeah. Almost every shot so far has been made specifically to make you feel like something's about to happen. Like, all of them look like something's about to open up behind you, or you're going to see someone walk by in the background. It's a lot of establishing shots, basically to make you go, when should I be afraid? But they have you at a heightened sense of security the entire time.
So when they get into the basement, what happens? What do we see? What is going on in the basement? We're talking a lot of shit down there.
Yeah, there's the piano, which that from the get-go is, oh, cool, we're going to hear that later. And it's going to be, nobody's there. But a lot of things
there's always a piano. There's always a piano. And I love the piano. I love to play the piano. But seeing the piano down there reminds me of other movies that have the piano, like Insidious, which is also a great movie. But it's like, why the piano? And he plays the keys.
So the keys that he plays later, when we hear the piano, it plays the same exact thing that he played.
You know what's funny? I never realized that.
I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that sounds familiar. Wait a minute.
I never put 2 and 2 together. Thank you.
No problem. Hey, I'm here to teach you about movies. You've seen this movie way more than I even have. I've seen it
and I never
twice.
Knew that.
Like, this was the first time rewatching this movie, maybe since it came out, I think. I watched it in some form digitally in 2013 when it came out, or maybe even 16. But there was not a lot that I remembered through this movie. One thing that I remembered will come up much later when they're outside.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of the shaky shots, it's uneasy feeling. Again, it's making you feel like something is about to happen at any point in time. There's a lot of, like, the kids are getting to know their rooms. There's a scene where, like, the wife is just walking through the house, and all of a sudden she looks up the stairs and the daughter's just standing there, which I don't think watching this, it got me, but I feel like that moment probably scared the hell out of people in theaters.
I think so, because don't forget that theater is very dark.
Yeah.
So they're probably like, why is she at the top of the stairs?
Yeah, it was a very quick, like, kind of moment. It was, there's a child there. Terrifying. Child up in the middle of the night is probably already terrifying, I would imagine. So it's like, why are you not asleep?
Which is why I'm a sleepwalker myself.
And we find out that the wife just keeps having bruises appear on her. It starts with one, and it's kind of like, oh, maybe she bumped into something earlier, but then more bruises start coming up. We also found out that the Warrens are haunted hoarders, if you will. We see that they took Annabelle and locked her up in a little display case in their, I don't want to say museum, but it's basically like it's a haunted museum. I believe it's Ed is giving a tour to somebody, and their daughter is just watching to try and see the room because Ed's given a tour and a guy's like, "Is this the real Annabelle doll?" He's like, "Yeah, but don't touch anything in here." And we see
It also
later.
says, "Please do not touch and do not open."
Yeah. We see later in the movie when they start collecting things from each of the cases, and it's kind of cool, but at the same point, damn, that's a bold move. Getting all this haunted stuff in your house with a child. Children
Which
are
is why
naturally
they
curious.
which is why they have a priest that blesses that room.
That's right. Yeah, he comes once a week, once a month, every other week.
I think it's once a week that the priest comes to bless the room.
Yeah, so bold. That's a good idea. It's still a bold move, especially with their daughter who is peeking around the corner and being like, "Ooh, what's in here? I know I'm not supposed to go in here. I know it's locked up by like 3 padlocks and a key combination, but what's in this wonderful, awesome, super cool room in our house? A lot of spooky shit."
Just wait till the other Conjurings. You'll know why.
Yeah, even the end of this movie it gets really creepy, but the second one, when we start seeing more stuff at that house, which is leading me to kind of be excited for the third movie, despite the title. I'll never let it go. I'll never let it go. I don't remember, honestly, any of the kids' names. Oh, isn't one of them Christine?
Yes, and it's actually Christine is the one that...
The mostly haunted child.
Yeah. She is the one where, I don't know if you have notes on this, but she is the one in the bed where they're sleeping at night and she, oh my God, like, what's that smell? Like, and she says that it smells like eggs, which, if you know from horror movies, if you start to smell eggs or sulfur, it means something that is dead or something is a presence, like a ghost or an entity or something like that. So
isn't it quite often demons connected to that one? Yes. Or demonic presences?
It's demonic presences. So the fact that she says that it smells like eggs and it smells real bad, which means, okay, boom. If you know horror, you know that there's a demon in the house.
Time to leave.
Spoiler alert. Going back to the dog, the little girl goes out the next morning and finds that the dog is dead. Sorry. Very, very sad. I'm a dog lover. But seeing that, you don't really get to see 100% like what happened to the dog unless you like zoom in. But something definitely got at it, which is very terrifying. So they know that there's something going on there, and especially with the dog dying and the mom getting the bruises and the daughter smelling eggs that night. And there's something going on. And with the daughter, then Christine, which she ends up getting her covers pulled off her bed, and she thinks it's her sister who's sleeping next to her. And it wasn't. Which is
surprise. The hide and clap game is they're playing it again, and she's like led up to the wardrobe that's in the end of the hall room, and we see it. She does not, because she's blindfolded and facing the wrong way, but the camera angle's on her and the wardrobe opens. And she asks for the final clap and it's silent. And then we see hands reach out.
Oh, when the hands reach out and literally just goes, did you look at the hands? Were they kid hands? Were they adult hands? What is your feeling on that?
So I didn't get a full look at them. It definitely seemed like it might be very veiny. Again, you've watched it white. 3 times already. White. Yeah, you've watched the movie 3 times since the year has started, and I've only watched it once. The fact of, like, it's terrifying, and I didn't even think to look at the hands. I was just like, hey, that's bad. That's bad right there.
I'm not going to lie. There's something about hands in any movies that it scares the shit out of me. And I don't know why. There's just, I love Bud Abbott and Lou Costello.
Yeah.
Totally random. But there's the movie called Hold That Ghost. And there's hands coming out from behind the curtain trying to get, And it's just, I don't like hands. There's just something about hands.
She looks down.
Only on my own hands. Because my immediate reaction is that it's going to go right to the neck and just choke the living life out of you. Like, it's just so terrifying. I don't know. That's just my thing on hands. I don't like hands.
That's fair. That's fair. That's awesome.
No, if feet came out, then I'd be like, what the fuck's going on here? But some hands, forget it.
I'm confused more than terrified. There was a scene earlier where there's like a music box, and it's kind of like a carousel with a mirror on top of it. But when you hear the music stop, then you'll see the person in the reflection. And we keep expecting to see something, and we don't for the longest time. And it's like, what are we supposed to see something? Are we about to get terrified? But that comes up later. We don't get anything right now. It's, oh, well, I guess he doesn't want to come out and play. And it's, this movie is creepy, and I love it.
It definitely gives you that, like, something's behind you. And, like, you get the pins and needles up your spine and being like, oh my God, there's something behind me.
Yeah.
And when you see a mirror like that in this carousel thing, you know something's going to jump out with like any horror movie. So the fact that there hasn't been anything coming out, it's like, why? What is supposed to be behind that? This is when there was on top of the wardrobe, and Christine wakes up and literally she screams and is like, they want our family dead. They want our family dead. And she goes into that hysterics, like something's dead.
The wife is woken up, or she wasn't asleep at that point. Either way, the wife is walking around in the middle of the night in the house, and like pictures are falling off the wall. Shocked how nobody's hearing this. She hears the claps, and she's going, what the hell? Guys, go to bed. And she's trying to find the kids playing the clap game, but the door opens to the basement. And we, as viewers, know, hey, there's no kids, and we also know what's about to happen because it's a trailer moment. Now, I love and hate trailer moments because some of them give away really good scares. Like this, if this wasn't in the trailer, yes, we would have seen it coming, but at the same point, I feel like it would have had more impact.
Absolutely.
As well as one of the big trailer moments that gives it away, and I didn't see the trailer for it, in Smile, when the sister just like comes up to the car. That's all I'm going to say. If you haven't seen Smile, Smile is a movie that you need to watch, especially when it's pitch black and you're home alone. Yes, I'll do that.
It's fucked up.
I honestly might watch it again.
Out of me.
It's a great movie.
It really is, but it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. So she hears the clap, and there were matches that were put on the side when Dad went to go and investigate the cellar before. So she has the door slam shut behind her, and there's still somebody clapping downstairs. She lights the match because there's no like lights anywhere, and she's sitting there shaking. One match goes out. She lights another one, and then we hear and see hands poke out from behind her and go. It's the trailer moment, but it's still really friggin' creepy.
She's fucked up.
Yeah. So they get in contact with the Warrens. I honestly don't remember how. I think there's like a cop friend.
The mom, when she started getting all these bruises and knew that something was going on, she went to one of the colleges that Ed and Lorraine Warren were at, doing a study with college students, and she basically went to go talk to them and was like, something's going on and I need your help. And Lorraine basically was like, I don't know if I want to do this because she's been through a terrifying experience and she doesn't want to involve herself again in one of these types of situations. And yeah.
It's kind of loosely referred to as like, I don't want to go down that again. Oh, Lorraine, I can't lose you like I almost did. It's like, well, what happened? Yeah.
Which you find out later.
Yeah. So the Warrens show up at the house, and they meet the family who has started living downstairs all together. They're living down in the living room, as one would do in the living room. But they start like introducing the whole family to the Warrens, and immediately Lorraine is looking at the family and looking around this house like, oh God, what the hell? And just giving the worried, concerned looks, which we find out a little bit later that Lorraine is like a clairvoyant of the group. So Ed's a demonologist and she's a clairvoyant, so she can see certain things. She can see the entities. And I guess what she was seeing is there are entities in this house, or a entity that has already latched itself onto the family. we see a scene later where she's elaborating that the entity is literally hanging out behind the kids and attached itself not only to Christine, but the mother as well. We get the whole talk about during their college talk, their seminar about possession. There's like 3 steps to working with a demon or something. I should have watched this again recently, but I didn't. The 3 things are infestation, oppression, and possession. So infestation, the sounds, the whispers, the footsteps starts to wear down the person leading to oppression, which making them feel dejected or crazy, basically driving them into a weakened state, which then ultimately leads to possession. So the demon has worn down the person, made them practically a shell of what they used to be, to a point where the demon can then move in and take over. We're worried that it's going to be the child that is going to be the one possessed. Not quite so. This twist / backstory is upsetting and just downright awful. They find out that the house had a mother who killed all of her children in this house.
So disgusting.
Yep. Taken over by the entity and just murders everybody in the house. Lorraine goes through and kind of, in a way, lived that moment. Like, she's walking through the house with a shotgun, but she's doing like the hand motions for it. So she's walking through some form of vision and
shooting the children. Yeah.
Basically, we hear the sound and we don't see anything. We just see the aftermath. So it's like one scene, sound, and that's the bodies, essentially, of her family lying there. And then I really like the fact that we're learning a lot about ghosts in this movie. It's not just a haunting movie. Yeah. It's actually something you learn, too.
Yes, and then when you find out the name of the person who killed her family, you actually do research on her, and she was part of the, I believe she was part of the Salem witch trials. I don't quote me on that, but she was part of the witch cult, and it's just fucked up.
Yeah.
And
when Lorraine is investigating more about this house, she finds out that the mother was lynched for being a witch, quote unquote. So the Salem witch trials, not far off.
I was real. I was right.
And real. Apparently her time of death was 3:07 a.m. I mean, back then you could probably do it whenever, but I cannot imagine having to wake up and be like, all right, cool, let's go to the witch hanging. Dad, it's 3:07 in the morning. Let's go anyway. It's like, no.
And how ironic that the clocks in the house when all of this is happening is on 3:07.
Mm-hmm. All the clocks that were in the house to start. There is a clock that I can't remember his name, but like the Warrens' assistant and the cop that they have as well. His name is Doug, I think. No, I just wrote funny cop. Good job, Jason. You're doing great.
He has a mustache. I know that.
Yeah, mustache man. We'll just call him Mustache Cop. He is like not believing of any of this. He's the skeptic here, and especially the fact that he's paired up with like the assistant who has seen all this happen, but he's really young in comparison to the cop, so he's not really listening to him. It's a funny little buddy cop dynamic. But they notice that the clock in front of them does 3:07 and then ticks over to 3:08. There's the setup montage of them setting up all the cameras and everything, which kind of feels jumpy and weird to me. But it's actually kind of cool seeing all the stuff that they put out when we get there. My personal favorite is when they go outside and they're pointing a thermal camera at the tree outside.
Yeah.
And I think it's either the dad or it's the cop who goes out. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, pointing a thermal camera. What are you pointing it at the tree for? Oh, because directly above you is where this witch got hanged. And you just see them look up and go, oh.
Even the music, the suspense of the music is fucked up. It's like, okay, there's something going on. But then Lorraine sees it as well, and she's the one that sees the hanging.
Yeah, when Lorraine looks at the tree, she looks up and it's just feet swinging. You hear the rope noise, and then you just see feet swinging. And I think Ed's out there with her and goes, Lorraine, you okay? And she's like, no. Terrifying house.
She's terrified. Like, she turns around this is why I love her and her as an actress, just her turning around and looking at behind her shoulder, and just her face is like pure horror. Like there's these feet that are dangling, and it's fucked up.
Yeah. Our angle of this whole thing is equally as scary. I think I kind of expected, someone's going to be hanging, but the way it was done was creepy and actually really well done. Where it's not just, bam, you see a body, you just hear a rope, you turn around, and all you see is feet just hanging with like another person casually interacting, but they can't see it.
Yeah. So going back to this. So basically, Ed and Lorraine got the guys to come in, the cop, the other dude who you call funny cop, Doug. They start setting up cameras in the house. So they set up a bunch of cameras, they set up everything. And at one point, there's a bell that they put above the basement door.
That's right.
They also had a bell that was over all the other doors. They heard the bell and they were like, oh my God, what's going on? And so they started like flashing the cameras and everything started going off. And it turned out it was because the cop came out of the bathroom and goes, what?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then they started seeing a bunch of other creepy stuff. Crucifixes started going upside down. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
I did like, because they started recording for their own evidence. So with this, they start recording. They have a directional mic, if you will. So when they're pointing the handheld microphone at the Warrens, you can specifically hear the Warrens, but occasionally it has to turn around. And it's just, they go with that audio for this scene. And all of a sudden it's like, hi, I'm Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I'm talking to you from here. And now I'm talking to you all the way over here. I hope that registers, but I turned around just to maybe give a distant feel to the audio there. It's a really cool effect, and I like it. Yeah, I think it's the youngest one. Like, the camera goes off because the door opened and the cop walked out. It's set to a wire where if the door gets past a certain point, it triggers a flash on the camera to see if there's anything around it. So we're all gathered around. We see the door open. Cop walks out. Nothing. But then in the background, we see the girl go upstairs. The camera flashes, which for some strange reason, that is haunting to me. The fact that the girl is sleepwalking, the flash goes off, and it's like, oh, shit. But my personal favorite is how that camera wasn't hooked up to a door. It's just taking a picture of her. No, something else triggered the camera.
Yeah.
It's what's walking with her.
Which is fucked up. And if you notice too, like, I don't know, I'm very into like details, and the daughter was wearing a white nightgown, and I don't know about you, but that freaks me out a little bit because a lot of scary movies have these people in white gowns when they're walking around. So it's like
Reagan and The Exorcist.
Yeah.
So she goes upstairs and she starts like headbutting the wardrobe. She was doing this earlier in the movie, but she's just repeatedly hitting her head on the wardrobe, wants to get in. So they go upstairs and they take out the ultraviolet light and start scanning around the room, and they see handprints on the door. So they open it and it's like, well, that's not them. They check and they move some stuff. There is more handprints on a little crawl space behind it, where they open it and they find a whole like empty back hideable area with a oddly specifically shaped like dust shadow on the ground. Not shadow, but like everything else is dusty except for this one spot, which is oddly hexagonal, if you will, because, and if nobody called this, then I'm going to be shocked. It fits the music box perfectly. It's where the music box came from, because that's not something the kids had when they first showed up. That is something that was found inside the house in a crawl space.
I could just hear the music.
In the morning, Lorraine is out doing some laundry, and Ed found out there's an old Chevy that the dad never really got around to fixing. So there's a nice little bit of character development there. But Lorraine is out doing laundry, and she's like, you know what? I could get used to this. Off in the woods, off in the country somewhere where like nobody's going to bother us. We don't have to worry about anything. We could leave this all behind, which is a big thing with her in these first two movies that I've seen. I don't know if it continues into the third, but she basically wants out. this entire time, but still manages to find her way back in.
Yeah. I don't think she wants to be included in it, but she feels like she has to.
Yeah, it's like her not calling. Yeah, it's to help people. That's all she's in it for, is to help people, which is great. When we get to the second one, because even to this day, still a lot of people don't believe that the Warrens were there to help. The Warrens were there for money or the fame.
I think differently.
Then wait for Conjuring 2. This scene, I remember watching it, and then it popped into my brain as I remember this right before it happened. She's out doing laundry, and demons can affect the weather. Who knew? But it starts getting really windy, really dark and spooky looking outside in the beginning of the day, and a sheet flies off the line and catches something. It is the shape of a figure that the sheet is blowing against, but then it just continues to blow and nobody's there. It hits the window up top and then falls away, and we see the ghost of the mother, who killed her family in that house. And Lorraine runs back in.
Yes. So Lorraine, before she was doing the laundry, had said to the mother, hey, why don't you go take a nap? You've been dealing with a lot of stress. And that's when the mother went upstairs to the bedroom to fall asleep. And that's when that ghostly figure came and you see creepy lady in the window. That's when she's like, oh my God, I gotta get up there. Comes up there, tries to open the door. She can't open the door.
Yep, that's always the best thing in the world, when you can't open the door, especially when it's, we found out the mother killed her family, and now that's what I'm seeing up in that window. Shit. We find out that one of the reasons that Lorraine is a little bit more hesitant and Ed's a bit more protective of her is she saw something from one of their other cases with a Frenchman who kind of just like grabbed her, and she had a vision that was horrendous, which we have no idea what it's about until the second movie. Tune in for the second episode of The Conjuring.
So this is when she took the matches and she was going down into the basement and the whole clapping scene had happened. She went down into the basement and she fell down the basement stairs.
That's right.
So she hits her head. She's at the bottom of the stairs and she's trapped down there basically because she can't really move. And she starts seeing everything, and that's when she sees the witch being this person. And that's when everything started happening. That's when, she basically became her.
I don't remember shit about this movie, I guess.
Well, when you watched it 15 times and 3 times this year, you kind of remember. Too.
I'm sorry, do you want to be the host of the podcast? And again, this is why I brought Christine to talk about The Conjuring, because holy crap. I remember watching this movie and going to you the very next day and going, I don't know how I'm going to do an episode on this. It feels very like, and then this happened, and then this happened. But mostly a lot of knowledge about ghosts and the supernatural and possessions.
Yeah, to have like a background and like knowing like what is going to be expected in this movie, and then kind of like have an idea of like what this whole deal is with possessions and, demonic entities, and definitely helps you out so you can figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And a little bit of history with the Salem witch trials.
True. Before the Warrens took off to this house, their daughter gave Lorraine a necklace, like a little locket that's just like, hey, Mom, I'll have one and you'll have one. We'll be connected all the time, which I wasn't
parents too, isn't it? Inside the necklace.
Yeah, I was not expecting that to be a plot point at all. And Lorraine, after seeing like the hanging witch in the basement, and then she runs out of there, but the locket gets caught on something and stays down in that basement. So the entity has now found something else to latch itself onto. And we find out pretty damn quickly Lorraine's special locket, after she got it lost down in the basement, the demon kind of gave her like an image of, hey, your daughter's in trouble. Lorraine goes down by the pond or the lake by the tree and sees a vision of her daughter under the water, basically saying help. And that's why they leave to go help their daughter. That's the reason why.
They do leave, and then it starts to come to their house.
Yeah.
And affecting their daughter.
Yeah. The daughter's locket is like hanging up right next to her bed. and we see it kind of stop and then very quickly start spinning back and forth and freaking out. And we see the locket back at the house, which is on the ground in the haunted basement. And pretty soon, the daughter gets up, goes downstairs, and goes up to the museum door, which is unlocked and opens. And she goes
Which makes me want to believe, why was it unlocked? Was it because of this entity that tried to?
I think possibly. Because, I mean, this is going to sound contradictory to what I said earlier. I would like to believe that the Warrens are competent parents, let alone the fact that they bring all these haunted entities into their house with their child. But I would like to think to the fact that they do lock it up so they know people can't get in there. So I do have a feeling that this ghost decided, you know what? That door specifically, that one unlocks.
Fuck you, I'm opening the door.
Yep. Where we get Annabelle, the doll at the very beginning, it starts to turn its head. Uh-huh. Just close the door, kid. Don't go into the room full of haunted, spooky things that Dad told you never to go in.
Yeah, but again, kids are very curious and they want to know what's going on.
Yeah. So their daughter goes into, I believe it's like a study. Oh, no, the like whole upstairs starts getting darker and darker and darker and darker.
Yes.
And then she goes into a room where there's the ghost from this house in Rhode Island brushing Annabelle's hair. Just sitting off to the side, brushing the hair of a haunted doll. Oh, dear God.
That's when you're like, why did Annabelle come out of the box?
Yeah, I don't remember. Is there any connection between this ghost and Annabelle?
No.
Okay. It's just like, hey, spooky haunted doll, let's bring that thing out anyway. And just mess with this kid.
Yeah.
Love that. I remember just looking at it and go, that's haunting and I hate it. And I want nothing to do with you.
It's just fucked up, man.
The door closes with the Warren's daughter in that room, and the Ed and Lorraine show up just in time to a dark and stormy Warren household. They go in and try and break down the door. As Ed breaks down, to free their daughter. And as soon as Ed breaks down the door, a chair comes hurling through the room at him. Barely misses him. I'm shocked. Their poor daughter just, hi, I know what you guys do for a living. I'd never wanted this to come back to me.
But I just witnessed it all.
Yeah, and was kept hostage in a room by a creepy ghost that stole the haunted doll. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Love you too.
I was sleeping, by the way.
Oh, God. Oh,
Meanwhile, before this is also happening,
thank you.
The father tries to get out of the house and brings the children to a hotel, a motel, to get away from everything that's happening because he knows that the mother is fucked and is in the basement and is basically going to probably they're going to be doing something on her and they don't want the family to watch that.
Yeah. So Mom at this point has shown the fact of it's like, hey, the demon is not trying to possess your daughter. The demon is a mother who's trying to possess you. And it's just the moment of, oh, crap, I'm the reason. Love that. Yeah. We find out that the mother has taken the youngest daughter, and then I think the one who's sleeping in the same room with her, has taken them back to the house. And the Warrens find that they're in the basement, and Mom is literally trying to stab the daughters with a pair of scissors. And yeah, so they have to go down, stop the mom from stabbing her with the scissors. And they try and bring her out of the house, but the entity that has possessed the mom is she is being pressed against almost an invisible field, but it's burning her
skin. It's almost like a vampire. It's literally but it's literally burning her skin off. She can't get out this door.
Yeah, and she goes flying back. But the witch won't let Carolyn leave, the mom. Won't let her leave the house, and she's dragged back down to the basement where she is overpowered by every man who's pretty much there, and she is fighting Ed the dad, the Warren's assistant, and the cop. 3 out of the 4 are pretty able-bodied. Like, the assistant's pretty young, pretty skinny, but at the same point, she is overpowering all 4 of these guys. And it's like, cool, you're not supposed to be able to do that. What the hell, demon?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where it's like there's a sheet that's put over her to try and like restrain her arms from doing anything, as well as the fact that she attacked the officer. I think she bit him, because I think that's
She did bite him. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, she did bite him.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of blood that shows up on the sheet, but they basically then tie her down to a chair, and this is where she rips through the sheet, and we see the face of the mom.
Yeah.
Not at the time of this movie, because it's 10 years later when the movie came out. It's giving me awful Evil Dead Rise vibes.
Yes.
Like the mom in Evil Dead Rise looks eerily similar to this, whether it's because it's a mom and it's another, possession or haunting. But it's very, very creepy.
Her face is messed up.
Yeah, and then she starts talking with a demonic voice. So, even better. So, Ed has decided, cool, we can't wait for the church anymore.
We need to perform an exorcism.
I have to do the exorcism myself. And I think the backstory was either he did it once before and it didn't go well, or he just hasn't done an exorcism at all.
I want to say that he has done one, and he doesn't want his wife, Lorraine, to be part of it, which is why there was a situation that had happened, which you find out in The Conjuring 3.
Yeah.
That it went wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It does not go well for them at all.
No.
I love this effect. Like, birds start hitting the house as mom is screaming, and it shakes the whole basement. So everything's going haywire. But my favorite thing is, like, in the basement, everything is shaking and the camera's shaking. People are being like, "Oh, everything's shaking," but it cuts to the rest of the house and nothing is happening.
Yeah.
That's
only happening in that situation, in that basement.
Yeah, localized entirely in the basement. At this point, I believe one of the daughters has disappeared, and they're like, "What'd you do with her? What did you do with her?"
Yeah.
And the mom has no idea. The demon has no idea. And the chair that she's in starts to levitate.
That always creeped me out.
Yeah.
It's like it's all of a sudden just starting to go up and up and up.
Yeah. And Ed is pleading for the officer and the dad to be like, hold her down. Like, so A, she doesn't levitate. B, she doesn't break out of her restraints, but just hold her down. I know this is hard. She's your wife, but please help me out here. We are trying to help you. And eventually she breaks free, and their assistant is in the house, and he finds where the daughter is. Like, the daughter is like screaming, and we hear muffled screams, and that's when the assistant finds her in like the floor in the kitchen.
Yes.
She somehow made it in, I'm guessing, through the crawl space, and that leads to many other places. But it's like, I found her. She's in the crawl space in the kitchen.
Yes.
And the mother turns around and smiles, and then
books it.
She goes. So, yeah. Earlier, Lorraine found the crawl space with like a noose, and it goes all the way down into the basement. So there's a hole in the basement, which Lorraine fell down, and it goes up to that crawl space. So the mom books it into the hole in the wall and goes up through the crawl space. So now it's a race against time to try and find her before the demon finds her. And the mom, demon, whatever you want to call her, finds the daughter in the wall and is about to kill her when everybody basically shows up to rally the troops, and Ed calls her Bathsheba.
Yes.
Which not stuns her, but like makes her look at him and gets his attention. Was that the name of the demon?
Yes.
Okay.
So
all right.
Bathsheba was the name of the demon. That's when Ed put the crucifix to her face and basically was like, "Go, demon! Like, go away."
Yeah.
And that's when Lorraine basically goes, "This is your daughter. You can't kill her. Like, this is your love. We know you're in there."
Yeah, when we find out that Lorraine can go through like memories, it's the mom's happiest memory is their picture at the beach that they have of like the whole family. So she holds her hands and then goes into that memory, sees the fact that they're all running around the beach, very happy, moving out there, and they have that picture in the house. So she's like pleading with her, remember the beach. This is your daughter. You're happy with them. And she pukes out the demon.
Yeah.
So mom is basically saved and her soul is okay. But how do we expel the demon? With vomit. With lots of demon vomit.
Sounds about right. I mean, that's pretty much from any other horror movie. Like, I'm just going to let out a demon.
Yeah.
How do you clean that up? They never tell you.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it, whatever you do. Dear God, no. Yeah. I mean, it would probably start to smell because it is underneath the kitchen. You know, that's a gross topic in itself. We're not going to get into that.
Now, there was one point in this that was not mentioned, and it's going back to a vision that's in this mirror of this, going back to the music box, that they do end up seeing something in the back in the mirror, and it ends up being a little boy. And the little boy is in this scene because it is Bathsheba's son. Bathsheba's son is the one that basically took the little girl and hid her from his mother because he knew that she was going to kill her. And that is why she was hiding underneath the floor, because he was trying to save her.
If any of this is unlistenable because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, that's why we brought on Christine, because she knows. She's here to basically be like, no, you fool, get it right.
You're welcome.
So the demon is expelled, vomit, and mom walks out happy as a clam the very next morning. And it's
like nothing happened.
Yeah, it's starting to seem like a real happy ending. The music box, which, as Christine just said, there was a vision of a creepy ghost in the reflection when Lorraine looks into it. So it wasn't when mom did, it was when Lorraine looked into it. She sees the reflection of the creepy ghost boy. And that is what they brought back, and that's their little souvenir that they bring back for their museum, which I don't know if it does it in the third. I know it does it in the second. When they bring something back from the second, they put it right next to the music box.
Yes.
Which I think I hate the thing in the second a lot more than I hated this music box. In a good way.
Just the song. Just wait.
I can't wait to talk about him. He's underutilized, and I cannot wait to talk about him. He's awesome.
Stay tuned.
What are we talking about? Stay tuned. Yeah. Damn it.
I beat you to it.
Lorraine comes back and talks with Ed and says, hey, the Vatican approved the exorcism, and they'd like to meet to talk about a case in Rome. It's like, well, Rome, sick. Yeah, but the exorcism, we're already done with that. The music box starts playing to provide one last jump scare, or so you thought. Nothing happens. But it gets you one last time where you're sitting there going, oh God, not again.
I'm not gonna lie. I was waiting for something to pop out, and when it didn't happen, I was kind of a little pissed off. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, damn it! There's gonna be something. Is it gonna be a sequel? Like, is there something else gonna happen? But no.
I mean, it turned into way more than a sequel. It turned into a whole freaking franchise.
It did, and I have to say, the ending was incredible to see the photographs of the actual family that was in that farmhouse.
I don't know why, but Ed Warren looks like he must have been a blast at parties, and I mean that in the most sarcastic 100%. Way, because he just looks like such a kind of guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get real life photos at the end of The Conjuring 1, and just basically being like, yeah, this was a real thing. This is some of the evidence that we have based on it. And like that comes back even cooler in The Conjuring 2 is the real life stuff, real life recordings, pictures, so on and so forth. But loosely put together, and with the help of Christine's awesome knowledge of this movie, that The Conjuring from 2013. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I know I missed because I was trying to find plot points and just stick to that. But a lot of it was just like this scary moment, this terrifying moment. And it's like, oh, cool, sick. Let's real quick and recap anything that you remember that I might have forgotten or missed. Like the Lorraine seeing the ghost of the boy in the reflection. There was a scene earlier where one of the daughters, they're talking, trying to, conjure some spirit or get anything to show up. And then we see hair start to lift up. And then the girl, I think it's that oldest, gets pulled across the room, like smashed into a window door. And they have to then cut that section of her hair off in order to stop it from hurting their
continuing
child.
to go.
Yeah. There's a nice little fun moment. Ed found out that the dad has a Chevy that he's been meaning to fix up. It needs a specific part. And Ed goes out and gets that part and starts doing a little work. Yeah. It's really, really quite nice, especially the fact that that is a beautiful car.
Yeah.
I love my old cars.
It's a touching moment when you're realizing, like, yes, through all this evil and all this negativity, there's always a positive to it, and that I'm going to help you in any way that I could for the family.
Yeah, and it's actually quite nice of him, which, again, when people say, oh, they're all in it for the fame or the money, or to abuse their, like, not abuse. What the hell is the word I'm looking for?
No, it's like abusing their way of, like, their power, but it's not really a power. Like, it's like just What is the word I'm looking for though? Like using the family's misfortune to benefit them. Yeah, they're doing that to the families is what people think, but in some ways, very nice people, and we'll see. Anything else that we might be missing? I think a really good point with going to knowing Lorraine, and like walking up the stairs and she's kind of observing the house, and she puts her hand on the photo of the family at the beach and she goes, "That was a great day." And the mother even turned back and was like, "Yeah, it really was." That's when you kind of had a symbolic moment of, she knows what she's talking about. She definitely sees that was a great day. And I think that was a key point of her remembering to say that at the end to her and going, "This was a moment for you. Enjoy this.
Remember this moment. It's going to be very necessary in a few."
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking around to the end of the episode to find out what the hell happened in the movie. I definitely enjoyed watching this again. I don't want to say I didn't think I was going to, but I didn't remember anything about it. I have these things called fever dream movies where I know I've seen the movie. I just don't remember a damn thing about it. Like, this was one of them, not Cloverfield, Chronicle.
Okay.
Where it's like Michael B. Jordan, which I forgot he was in that, and like Dane DeHaan and a few other people. They find a rock that crashed from space and it gives them powers. It's a fever dream. I know I've seen it. I don't remember a friggin' thing about it though.
kind of reminds me of me with my sleepwalking, and hey, I kind of don't remember what had happened, but I know it happened.
Am I sleepwalking while awake? Am I awake? Oh God.
Are you doing a podcast without even knowing? Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, based on how much I remember this movie, I don't think I did a podcast at all here. I rambled on about notes and why I need to write them down next time.
Well, now you know.
Yes. So as we previously stated and then recapped again, that was 2013's The Conjuring, the start to a much longer franchise than I didn't even know they had this many films in this franchise.
The list goes on, and I hope that there's more, or maybe there's not, and that, I don't know.
Yeah, we're still waiting, and like, it was Strike, and there was some other big thing, but it was mostly Strike Hell, where The Conjuring 4 Last Rites, I think it's called, basically has been sitting and waiting, and it was like, oh, it's coming out in 24. Oh, cool, a strike. No, it's not happening. So I think now is early 25 is when they're looking to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll see on that. But, Christine, before we send off this episode, we have, of course, two things we need to do. We need to talk about our Bloody Legend of the Week. Honestly, I'm going to leave Bloody Legend to you.
Ooh. So I'm going to go with Patrick Wilson. And I have to say his films are the reason why I'm very much into horror. He has been in a lot of the movies that I enjoy, including Insidious, which is something we'll definitely have to talk about. So I have to say thank you to Patrick Wilson for making me enjoy horror films a lot more.
Patrick Wilson, Bloody Legend of the Week. And, of course, our ever-popular rating system. For The Conjuring, out of 10, how many claps would you give this movie?
I'm going to have to say I'm going to give this movie, drum roll please, a lovely 8.
Oh, okay.
I definitely think it's more than a 5. I think 5 is definitely on the lower scale, like it's about a half and half. But out of all the Conjuring movies that I have seen, this one has been my favorite. And I have to say it's definitely above a 5. Not quite a 10 yet, but I have to say it's an 8.
I like that. All right.
And it's an even number.
Ooh, now I have to do an odd number just to piss you off.
Oh.
I would probably have to say, honestly, I think I would give this movie a 6. I would imagine at the time this was probably like a groundbreaking movie, even though, again, it's based off of real events. Maybe did they embellish a little bit? Probably. I don't remember any of the other kids' names. It's basically gives me a lot of different things about ghosts and a lot about demons, and that's cool. However, there's a couple good scares and a couple good spooky moments, but other than that, I just feel like I've seen this before.
Okay.
Not to trash on your
No.
favorite movies, but for the first one.
I'll give you that.
All right. So, yes, that is our episode on The Conjuring. Let us know what you think about The Conjuring movies or franchise as a whole, if you have seen them all. Because, there's like 3 different Annabelles, 2 nuns, Curse of La Llorona, and then, as of right now, 3 main Conjuring movies, I think. That is our episode on The Conjuring. Again, let us know how you feel about the movies and the franchise as a whole. Send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. That's right, we're on Facebook now. And let us know. Other than that, Christine, thank you very much for joining us. I hope it's a good episode, and I'm really hoping it's good because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You do, though.
Well, thank you very much, Jason. And I'm very, very excited to listen to finally a podcast that I'm in.
Yeah. So next week's episode, we will be having, this is going to get real confusing, I know. We have Christine here, and then we have Kristen coming on to talk about a classic 80s movie, The Monster Squad. So we will have Kristen on next week to talk about that classic 80s movie. And then after that, we'll have Christine back to finish talking about the core 3 Conjuring movies with The Conjuring 2, and ultimately to end the month, The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. But that will be our episode for this week. Christine, we will see you in 2 weeks to talk about The Conjuring 2. Again, thank you very much for talking horror movies. I look forward to talking many more horror movies with you on this podcast and also in real life.
Thank you.
So until next week, sleep tight, suckers.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spoiler Sleepover, but the fun doesn't stop there. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Spoiler Sleepover, and be sure to check out our website www.spoilersleepover.com for more. That would be really fantastic of you. So until next time, sleep tight, suckers.
Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram, or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.